Good evening, everybody. This is Dr. Rao. On Saturday evening, we were out in Chicago and did some shopping all today. And then I made it at the 7 o'clock meeting. I was hurrying myself on the way, right? So, as usual, we're going to talk a little bit about what is the situation with the burnout of the doctors and what are the things I am proposing to deal with the burnout of any doctor. You know, Hopefully that makes some helpful suggestions that they can implement, and they can derive some efficiency, some kind of relief from the burnout in their lives, right? Um, as it is, you all know I'm a internal medicine doctor. I kind of worked more than so many decades, 4 decades or so. And then kind of sold my clinic in 2019 and have been working online. And the small clinic was there, but that's not seriously run now as I used to do. But I was focusing on how to help people to understand what is happening in the medical field, what kind of stress and burnout of healthcare workers, not just the doctors, but also the nurses, the pharmacists, all the people who are working in the healthcare field are going through tremendous amount of stress. So that's something we need to pay attention to. So we are kind of suggesting some ways that I learned from the ancient wisdom. I do yoga practice. I study Vedanta, and then I understand Ayurveda and other health systems of the ancients, which taught me a lot. And then um, being a modern physician and knowing the anatomy, physiology, and understanding the perspective of ancient health systems where holistic health, wellness, and relationship with the nature and other human beings is emphasized. I learned some lessons that really helped me to be in balance and to be able to serve and to be able to help other physicians and also really enjoy my profession, right? Enjoy my being worked as a physician. All those things are there. So that's what I wanted to present to my friends. Whoever wants to come up and talk about it, they are more than welcome. I will give them usually an hour in this one, so I'll wait for people to show up too. Saturday evening, people may have plans, people may want to enjoy themselves, that's perfectly fine. So this is recorded, and if anybody wants to really tap into this and get the insights of what I'm saying, I think that would be wonderful. Uh, so the recording happens on the Clubhouse and also on the Wisdom app and also on the Restream in the YouTube channel, Facebook channel, LinkedIn, Twitter. And then my private Facebook group, Conquer Burnout, right? So anybody wants to reach me, you can reach me through the back channels of Instagram or LinkedIn or Facebook or Clubhouse. I don't know. Clubhouse has this. Hi, Alka. Welcome. So this is a room.
Yeah.
How are you, Alka?
All right. Thank you.
Good.
Okay.
Good, good. Yeah, I was just coming from Chicago, uh, so I was
Did you do your shopping and everything today?
yeah, shopping, Indian groceries and lots of things. Three whole places we went there. So, and we were caught in the big storm when we were coming back, but we survived it, and then we came here now.
Oh no.
Yeah, so very big storm like that. Um,
Mm.
See, I was just telling them how this burnout is something that I understand very well because of my long association with the you know the health system, and all the problems we went through. And so I can understand why people are going through the burnout and how they can come out of it. So I was just telling them about what are the things that ancient wisdom taught me to handle the current stresses and strains of modern life. So we'll explore it that a little bit. But actually, the cost of the burnout is tremendous, not just to the physicians and hospitals, but to the society as a whole. There is going to be a situation where many doctors are leaving the field, and we will be ending up with like a shortage of doctors, which is going to be a big problem down the line. That's what people are anticipating and understand and worried about it too. I am more tuned with the quality of life that is robbed from healthcare workers, because both doctors and nurses, they work so many hours, and they put their entire being into that sometimes, and they don't even take care of themselves, and they don't conduct their relationships at home very well, and they kind of burn out, and then they kind of have this heavy fatigue and heavy exhaustion emotionally too. So, but when you really understand the ancient wisdom for what it is, they're very close to the nature and the ancient wisdom, and they have this spirit of service, and then they relate to other people interconnected as though there's no difference, and then they kind of have joy in their life, and really appreciate the opportunity to work and work very well, and also they kind of take care of themselves better because they are more aware of what's going on with themselves. Okay, so these are the things I kind of teach them about developing this kind of inner resilience by optimizing the wellness, and able to first of all develop physical immunity better so that they can handle any sorts of illnesses better, and also keep the chronic diseases away. That's one thing. And then having the spirit of service really gives the meaning, and then also meaning right away when you are doing some service to a patient, right? And then also having some kind of helpful nature, kindness, compassion, not only to the patient but also to the fellow workers, helps you as a person, and also develop your relationship, and helps your colleagues too. So you have the capacity not to exhaust yourself, but then you have the capacity to deal with the exhaustion, but also be a beacon of hope and help for the other people too. That kind of things. Unless we kind of revive that kind of inner resilience within our own self, we won't be able to handle the problems of our life, but also not able to help other people too. So I always talk to physicians about self-care, not to be obsessed about with their body knowledge, but then be commonsensical about how to maintain wellness, proactive wellness, and then out of that inner resilience comes. And then you'll be able to fight off infections, fight off stresses, fight off all the emotional burdens that you develop because of the work area or the work atmosphere and all that, right? So this room's aim is to present those kind of simple hacks for our modern life. So I hope I will be able to get more doctors in here, and that way we can there are nurse or anybody who is working in healthcare work. So those are the main things. Develop some attitude change, develop some inner capacities to deal with things, and also really take care of our physical body, mental mind, and also psychological self and all that. So I've been working with doctors on this, and many of them are they kind of bred to that they are superhuman beings. They can take care of anything for themselves. But then when the situation come where they are not able to do, and they have the overwhelming work, or overwhelming demands by the administration or insurance companies, they all put them in a lot of tough spaces, right? That's when they kind of demoralized, that I always avoided because the external success is bad. Let's figure out a way. Don't be enamored by it, and don't pay a price by exhausting yourself physically and mentally. So Alka, have you seen any doctors who are burning out?
I work with my local doctor. Yes, I think he makes sure he takes his leave because
Okay.
otherwise we're burning out. Definitely, I think with the GPs, there's a lot of stress,
Yeah.
and you can cover definitely.
Yeah. Yeah. It is getting a little harsher atmosphere out there. And one of the lady doctors I was talking to the other day, she was telling, how can we deal with this overwhelming atmosphere where we are being punished for things we are not really responsible for, and also we are not allowed to our job because so many restrictions, so many things they don't want to pay. They don't want to pay for the service, and you cannot even keep the patient long enough to make them well. So they're frustrated because of the atmosphere. So my thing is, when that kind of circumstance change, you can put a front of really, answering them with information and with insight and also with intelligent questions, right? But if you act like you are the victim, then that administrator will take more advantage of it because you are more prone to make a mistake, right? So um, understand what is needed, and then if it is really not justified, then you can always protest it, But then the things have become so bad, the administration can write and build a case against you, and then they may be acting against you in your credentialing. They kind of harass you in a way, I understand that totally because even you are there and you're always on the lookout. Maybe something will go wrong, so let me not commit a mistake, right? That itself is a heavy burden. You are not carefully working, you are not having the protections that you need, and all that, right? Patient can sue, or the insurance company can do that, or your administrator. All those things are uh, making a heavy impression on the physicians. That's one thing I saw. And the atmosphere is so bad in certain hospitals, they cannot really do their normal job because they have to go to the administration and the background call, or they have these insurance calls asking you, why did you admit this patient? Why did you not discharge this patient? That kind of thing. So, more than taking care of the patient, these other things have become a real burden on doctors, which I sympathize. I understand. I know how it feels, because I've been at this stage, right? But many of the times, I kind of stand up for them without feeling bad. I cannot talk about the facts, that's all. And I also want to put it in writing as to what happened between me and this particular person. Suppose somebody calls me from somewhere in Utah and say, oh, I am the patient rep or something. I want to send this patient home. Why are you keeping the patient? But then you can ask his name and you can tell him that I'll be documenting this conversation. And immediately he takes a defensive stance, and he would say, instead of asking why are you keeping it, he would say, would you know how long he's going to be here? Would you be doing so? Instead of making the medical decision for us, he will make like a more like a suggestion. I'm just suggesting for this. Can you deal with this and all that? So that's one thing that you could always use. It's not only them they can document. We can document too. That is there. So we just have to be, uh, you know, present enough to remember that and tell them that nicely, not in a threatening way, but nicely. Sir, whom I'm speaking with, that okay, I want to document this, that whatever we talk between us, then for future use. And most of the time they kind of don't object to it. But if they are objecting to it, then they may cut the question. They won't say it, but then they will cut short the conversation. So that's one thing I always tell administrators also. If they come around and say you document this way, that way we will get this money extra and all that, then I'll ask them to document it that they were suggesting this, and usually they back off. So they want to get our tail, but then they don't want their tail to be involved. Right? That's why it's a very effective way to put everybody in place. And so lots of times they think they can intimidate us and they get things done their way, even though they don't really think that they have authority for it, or they don't have the really background for it, or substantial evidence or anything like that. So if they say somebody has to be discharged, this is one thing happens all the time, and you are ready to discharge the patient, then they won't allow. If you are they say, oh, this patient cannot stay another day because it's going to cost more money. Then well, the moment you say document it like that, that's your suggestion, then they won't, right? So you can ask me, I'm going to put a name and then his number and all that, and that's what you suggested. I'm going to do this, then I will do this discharge upon your advice. That shuts them off. Most of them, that's how I handled that situation. So instead of feeling bad, instead of feeling being a victim to these people's harassment, just enroll them in the whole thing and then put their thing at on hold too, so they will be listening to. So what do you say about that, Alka? You must be knowing about these situations.
I think with NHS it's different. Definitely discharging people out of what you call it, the hospitals and everything, what you talked about.
Yeah.
But definitely, I think maybe it's different because it's all insurance and it's paid and it could be double checked. That's what I'm learning because I think since 3 years in COVID, I've been listening a lot of to American ways, and that's more like Indian ways because in India everybody has to be everybody pays. So all the people who are paying, they're more conscious that they have to be discharged. But in England, because it's under NHS, I think discharges depend on a lot of various things on the doctors, on the social workers, and the place where they can go to. So I think it's just a little bit different.
Yeah. I would love to work in a system where I don't have to worry about money and just provide care for the patients. I would love that from them. Besides this focus on the revenue in American system, that is the bane of the medical system here, because sometimes some surgeries, some cancer drugs, some one thing will be provided by the insurance, but most of them they try to avoid payments to any service and then put the burden on the physician. That's the situation I'm talking about. A lot of doctors are harassed by the documentation they are doing these days, that's in the EMR, and also this constant interference in their care for the patient, and then making them responsible for whatever mistakes happen, and then they escape it just by intimidation like this. So those kind of situations I'm talking about, if they are intimidating you and you are really unhappy about it, then document that. It's a very important thing. You don't have to fight with them. You don't have to, because they are following a system that they are under pressure too. So, but you say my license is under the line, and if I have to declare medical necessity, I have to document that. And then if you object to it, I can mention you that you're assisting me for to send him home. And then then you won't be responsible if something happens to him at home. That's how it is legally fought. I mean, a lot of doctors don't understand the legalities and the policies, which is very helpful once we know what is legal, what is not legal, what are the health policies, health care rules, and all that. Once you are aware of that, that, then you can deal with these administrators, insurance adjusters, or pharmacy drug people. They call about the suppose I want to give insulin pump, so many hurdles, right? And sometimes it can take a lot of time, especially when you are in the clinic alone and you are doing so many patients, and then they hang you up for about 1 hour, 2 hours to ask all sorts of questions. That's also a major stress for us. So the way how the job is constructed in the private industry, and also how the remuneration comes and all that is a daily fight. There is one place I used to go and work as a hospitalist. They had two nurses dedicated to ask about eligibility of the patient for the day, and how many days left for him, or they're going to pay for, and all. This is a complicated system, and there's so much energy goes into that. You know, that's the I'm sure the national. I have friends who have done FRCPA, all those things in England, and came here. Worked one of the guy, he worked as a resident for me, and then he completed his medicine and all that at the end of it. He was telling me all the things that happen in England compared to here, and that the problems there is kind of rationing and unhappiness of the patients about it, delaying the care, those kind of things. But here, it's more like a hassle every day. Why did you do this? Why did you do that? And that acts on the doctor's burnout too. That's why I brought this up. So let's go back to what is the system I developed for the relief of the burnout. How people are really uh, people are really getting something out of that. First of all, I focus on general well-being, proactive wellness. Take care of your body, your mind, your emotions, and your social connections, and your general understanding of all that, right? Then that will really give you occasion to develop this general health, so that you are really not reacting that badly, and also you are able to handle your own moods and your own emotions better. That's the key for the burnout resolution, right? Most of the people come to me already really shattered, already unhappy about how their status is, how their job satisfaction is, or not, or how they kind of avoid going to the hospital, because they say, once I get up in the morning, want to go to the hospital, my heart begins to beat faster because I develop this anxiety, and I'm going to what kind of situation I'm going to pay. And sometimes they are called in the middle of the day about coming and explaining the position to the administration. That kind of harassment goes all the time. And now they also have this system where uh, uh, health allied people personnel. That means physician assistant, medical assistant, and physician, nurse practitioners, and all. They hire them to save money for the hospital, which is fine. But they are supposed to be, working under the doctor, and doctor names go. Sometimes prescriptions are given by them, or sometimes we had to sign their prescriptions and all. So what they do is they kind of manipulate, so that they kind of give harassment. They don't work under you, but they want to use your license to get certification for them. So that kind of thing. So people are really harassed by the situation too. So you go and you want to work, and then the work distribution also, the administrators favors them, and they kind of pamper them because they are much less paid. So they want to keep them, versus they don't want to hire too many doctors. They will one doctor, 3 or 4 PAs, and the PAs will do less work than this one. So then this man is overworked. So many things come on them. I have seen that myself. So I kind of told them this is not right. because they are making mistakes, or they're taking time to just do only simple things, whereas we have to carry that burden, and once you are really happy about it, you got to talk to the administration and change the working conditions. For everything, you got to be cool. You got to be not reactive. That's where you are take care of your exercise, taking care of the deep breathing, really not reacting but responding to things. All those principles that I practice and also teach people are very helpful. But if you are like a pulled into anxiety very quickly and you are responding by emotionally high strung, then it's a very difficult thing to handle these new situations that are not really written down in job description, but they come up because they made it all commercialized, right? It's all about revenue. It's all about how much money we can save or how much money we can charge, that kind of thing. So they always put the doctors uh, at the pickle, because you can't say no or you can't say yes. If you say yes, it is your license. If you say no, it's a problem with the administrators and insurance people and all that, right? So this is the kind of situation here, Alka, in the United States. A lot of doctors are finding it very unbearable. You know, you must have heard about this, right?
I think there's lots of different pressures and different
Yeah.
situations. Definitely, I
Yeah.
agree with you there.
I think this monetary system where the revenue driven healthcare systems making it so much difficult for doctors. It used to be doctors are very well paid and all that, right? But now reimbursement has become so tiny and doctors are not making the same money they used to make. And also they have this extra stress and all that, that's why many people are leaving, because it's not worth it to, why should I stay here for the pennies and all that, so that is there, and then more and more doctors are gathering together and discussing these kind of issues, and they are trying to form some of the uh, resolutions for that, so I kind of promote my kind of making the mind stable and emotionally not labile, and also having a very powerful body system that can really not be succumbing to all the anxieties and worries that we encounter every day. I'm kind of cool when I go into the situations, because I've seen them, I've handled them, and I have tried these hacks. But then people, simple things like, make sure your nutrition is vital. That means essential nutrients are there. Not the empty calories, not the salty things or oily things and all that. That one particular change of vital nutrition, the nutrition that is in vital energy, rich in vital energy, that's the one you want to make. That means you got to pay attention to what you are eating. You have to pay attention to the important thing that you need to eat, and you have to take your time to eat it, and then you have to nourish them all that. But lots of times they're so worried they don't even eat properly. They don't drink water properly too. That's not deliberate. It's like so many things are going on. They don't have the time for it sometimes. And just to move and exercise, and also rest and sleep. If they don't make time for that, because the duty hours are so varied, sometimes it's very difficult to have a regular sleep cycle too, and you're active practice in this country. So that is something we have to learn. How can you have few hours, but that's a very high quality sleep? you know that can be learned, that can be practiced, and that is something that we can improve. I never took sleeping pills so far, and then I do have a very quality sleep. So even if I'm sleeping like a 2 to 3 hours, I'm very much really I'm into deep into what is meditation, what is mind function. So that helps a lot for me. But maybe everybody will not have the same quality of sleep without doing all this. But you can learn to calm your mind and go to sleep. Thereby, you can improve your. Don't try to retain everything in the mind. Empty that and then go to sleep. Does that make sense to you, Alka?
Yeah, definitely agree.
Yeah.
There's different settings for me.
Yeah. So, how do you sleep well?
No, I've been out, I've come home. Well, definitely not sleeping is at the moment it's still compromised, but I'm gonna try on it.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. We can all try to understand what do we know about sleep, and also what is our sleep pattern, what are the habits that we have, can we change some of them. You got to take it very slowly, and maybe in a few weeks time, if you understand and then really do those things, like for example the ambience around your sleep area, and what kind of things you do before sleep, what kind of things you do after sleep. All these things have a huge bearing on your quality of sleep. Okay, suppose you are very attentive to everything that you are doing during the day, and then also getting rid of all that junk that you can accumulate during the day, that helps a lot. So how do you work during the day? Important. And then before the sleep, do you unwind? Do you take at least 15 minutes, 30 minutes to really unwind? That used to be the case when we have a leisurely lifestyle. But now, with all this speed and fast paced working conditions, people don't take time to unwind. So that helps a lot. In yoga, there are two things. One is called yoga nidra, other one called shavasana. These two are basically progressive relaxation of all the muscles in your body, and that relaxation really helps you a lot, right? So the more you are into that, the more deeper you are, the lesser time you need to get that kind of unwinding I'm talking about. And then when you are sleeping, your mind is clean, or it is not really actively engaged in a lot of thoughts, and um, mm, the deeper sleep, the number of hours will be reduced, but then the quality deepens. The more quality you develop, the less time. So I have reached at a stage when I'm doing the night calls. 20 minutes was enough for me. That became after long practice. I'm not saying it comes right away. After long practice, because I was very enthusiastic about having a quality of sleep, and then I really jumped myself into that, and then really immersed myself into what it is. And then it's not just studying or learning, but it is about what exactly I did, right? Once you understand and you have to do it, you just can't listen to it like a something, oh, good information. It doesn't do anything for you. But if you really apply that in real life, and then practice it in different situations, and get your body and mind completely relaxed before you go to sleep, it does a lot. There is an advanced practice I will tell you. Okay, you are here, that's why I'm telling you, but not necessarily how to do it. See, everybody breathes in, breathes out, right? But if you really identify, the breathing in is the life force, and breathing out is all the toxins that you have accumulating in it, like a carbon dioxide, nitrous, all those things are. That very kind of feeling helps you a lot to improve your wellness, proactive wellness, because you are really allowing the body or the deeper aspects of alveoli to absorb all this life force. And then that's what in yoga they teach you, pranayama, where it is not just breathing in some air and look at oxygen. You are really taking at the life force which is giving you life, and then you are letting all the toxins that toxins should involve your mind conclusions, negative thoughts, all those things. So when you take the deep breath, you will say, who am I am this life force. And then when you breathe out the air, I'm not just this body and mind, but all the toxins are coming out. So that kind of mental and psychological, spiritual involvement of being who you are. That means basically you are aware and of your being, and you need awareness. You kind of operate all this. That goes a long way to improve the quality of the sleep. This I learned from Ramana Maharshi. He was teaching people who are not really, really giving away the feeling that I am these thoughts and all that. Okay, majority of us we identify with that. We think what we are. Even that French philosopher Descartes, Rene Descartes, he said, "I think, therefore I am." Some say that is the thing that influenced the Western civilization to really think a lot, but then stop at thinking. Whereas Eastern cultures, including yoga and Ayurveda, they go beyond the thought to the consciousness. For them, consciousness is a fundamental thing, and in consciousness you have thoughts. So it's not the thoughts as the end point. You should be there. Even Eckhart Tolle said this. He said Rene Descartes should have said he stopped one step short. He should have gone ahead and said, "I am conscious, therefore I am." In sleep, what I'm talking about is that you kind of actually establish yourself in that being, not in your thoughts, not even in the silence of thoughts, but in that being. And that is, I think I told you something very deep, Alka, but I hope it makes sense to you. But that is, once you come to that, even few minutes of rest and just deep breathing without going to deeper sleep helps a lot to revive our energies. I use this so easily, so it is my blessing probably. So but when I share it, people don't have a foggiest idea about it. But then if you explore it regularly, it will help you to get the gist of it. That's what deeper sleep is possible. And some may call it samadhi, but I don't want to call it, because that's a in samadhi you're alert, aware, and then you're not really awake to everything else. But this is just uh, good preconditions for sleep, good sleep. So that's about it. This is something all the doctors who are burning out can use, because in sleep what happens is your body is restored, your mind is restored naturally. All the gunk that you accumulate in the mind will be gone, and which is good in the long run, because you don't get the see, when you allow this brain fog to accumulate, you are susceptible for dementia down the line. That's what happens with a lot of people. So even ordinary people who are having a regular schedule, uh, they don't really give the importance for the sleep, unless they have some event tomorrow, or they are going to open something or something, right? Then they may do that. Otherwise, they don't really give the importance that the sleep will restore my body and my mind. And that is something it's good to keep in mind, so that you can sleep better, consciously attempt to sleep on empty mind, and also consciously create sleep ambience around it. That you darken the room, you kind of maintain the same schedule, and then you kind of do something like a light music, or some milk, or some hot shower, or a couple of asanas that are pretty good. There's what's called bird pose, where you kind of um, bend, you kind of put both your legs as possible, and then bring your head to the floor, and without bending the knees, and then lift up the hands in the back like that, okay, bird pose. And that's very good because it allows a lot of blood flow to the head. So I think I told yoga nidra, I told calf pose, told about real Vedantic breathing and associating with the being, and also this one. If you can do all these things, the bird pose. There are a couple of asanas you can do that too. They are very good for the yogic way of relaxation and progressive muscle relaxation and centering your mind to the breath and not allowing the mind to go journeying into the future or into the past and all that. All those things help the quality of sleep, which is very good. Not only that, when you sleep, because all this junk goes out, you get up much more well, much more healthy, obviously. And if you do the same thing, but modern life is making it very difficult. First of all, there's information overload. People read a lot, know a lot, but you don't need to read a lot or know a lot. You need to have the understanding, and then that operate, not the information only. That information should lead to insight into a problem, and then applying that insight is the key, right? If you go on reading books and thinking, oh, I know so much, it's no use for your own physiological organism, right? So that's one thing. So how is the information overload is affecting us? What is this brain fog? What is this dementia because excess information and repetitive information? What is cyclical thought versus conscious thought? What is that resolution of hurts or ego trauma? So many things happen, right? So putting all those aside, because most of the people come to me telling, "Oh, he said this or she said this, and that's why I'm hurt. I kind of cannot work with him anymore." All these things. So they're nurturing the same thing happened like a couple of weeks ago. They still have that in their mind fresh, and then they're creating emotional drama, right? So we always ask them, are you existentially alive, or you're psychologically, stuck in whatever that happened to you? Lots of people justify how they were hurt. We don't dispute with that. You may have generally felt hurt, but think about it, what it can do to your system. That's what I'm talking about. So this goes on like this. You can eat well, you can exercise well, and you can sleep better by understanding what is your sleep, what is things that you can do to improve your sleep quality, and then finally, what are you doing with your mind? Very important thing in your organism. And if you don't know what is mind, how to understand mind, how to really make mind work for you rather than you are working for the mind. All these things are very important. This is the comprehensive self-care I teach, I talk about, is to what do you do with your nutrition, what do you do with your exercise, what do you do with your sleep, what do you do with your mind. And of course the emotional thing is also included in the mind. So when they come to me for this burnout coach, which is the 12 weeks course, I talk to them first about finding out what is going on with them. Each individual is different, right? And then how much they want to have transformation within themselves. Lots of times they are busy telling me how they're justified, how they know all these things and all that. But that's not the thing. How can you transform yourself from this neurotic, anxious, sad, really unhappy, joyless person to really joy, service providing, and really a good place in other people's lives and all that, right? To transform into that contributing person, you get to understand how to take care of yourself. Okay. So that is what my program is about, how to use the ancient hacks to improve our self-care and also to improve our inner transformation. Hopefully people will come back to this next time, and I'll be talking to you again next Saturday. Okay, thank you. Okay, I'll see you later. Okay.